From RTV6, this is breaking news.
RTV6 first broke the story at 6. Indianapolis businessman Tim Durham found guilty on all counts in what's being called the largest financial fraud case in Indiana history. Durham and two business partners were accused of bilking thousands of investors out of more than $200 million. The jury began deliberating this morning.
And the decision came down just about half hour ago, and we want to take you live to the press conference that is live outside the
investors of Fair Finance in northeastern Ohio. Having interviewed dozens of these people, spent a lot of time in the Akron area working on this case, I can't express how strongly we felt about seeing that some justice was brought for those people.
Jenna, we're coming to you live here on the steps of the federal courthouse. You're hearing from Clifford Ong, who was the main federal prosecutor on this case, talking about how the case was won. The jury's verdict came in around 6:20 this evening after jury deliberations began at 9:20. But the big news this morning right now is that Tim Durham, who was found guilty on 12 counts, including conspiracy and wire fraud, is now on his way to the Marion County Jail along with the two other associates, James Cochran and Rick Snow. Those are the other two men who are also on trial with him. They're being sent to the Marion County Jail because the prosecution tells us that they believe that these men are still flight risks and can still may have access to millions of dollars that remains missing. So they're afraid they're going to leave the country. So tonight, and until next Monday, in fact, when there's a hearing on this matter, Durham, Cochran, and Snow will spend all of that time in the Marion County Jail. All three men accused of hatching a plot to really steal millions of dollars. And in fact, that's what the jury believes happened here, that 5,000 investors were taken for more than $200 million. As we take a look at this, the guilty verdicts that came in, the jury found Durham guilty on 12 counts, found James Cochran, who was the chairman of the board for Fair Finance, the company that was pretty much looted out of millions of dollars. On 8 counts he was found guilty, and the message was much more mixed on Rick Snow, who was the chief financial officer. He was found guilty on 5 counts. Now, we don't know exactly how these gentlemen will be sentenced, because there will be a sentencing hearing after the detention hearing, but based on all the things that were found guilty on today, the most minimum sentence, for example, that Rick Snow may receive is maybe 30 years in prison, but Timothy Durham, the maximum that he could face today, if the judge were to impose the full force of the U.S. government law, would be 225 years. Of course, now we are hoping to hear from U.S. Attorney Joe Hogsett in a few moments as he calls us a victory for the government. The government began this case many years ago. In fact, they believe that as of 2005 that this multi-million-dollar plan was hatched right across the street on the 48th floor of the Chase Tower, which sort of shadows over the federal courthouse, and that Durham and Cochran and Snow really conspired together to buy this company in Ohio, use all the money that people, regular folks, were investing in the company. They took, according to the government, they took the money out of the company, and then, of course, use it to prop up their businesses and live lavish lifestyle. Let's hear from U.S. Attorney Joe Hogsett, who talked to us moments ago.
No matter who you are, no matter how much money you have, no matter how powerful your friends may be, in a free society, no one is above the law. The decision that we just heard in the courtroom today, made by this jury, sends a very powerful warning that if you sacrifice truth in the name of greed, if you steal from another's effort to carve out the American dream, to enhance your own dream and desire, you will be caught, and the FBI and the Office of the United States Attorney and the Department of Justice will not stand idly by and allow a culture of corruption to exist in this community.
I can tell you that Durham, Snow, nor Cochran expected to be hauled off to the Marion County Jail. They were expecting, as in most of these white-collar crimes, for the suspects, once they're found guilty, to walk out of the federal courthouse and then come back for their detention and then their sentencing hearing. But that did not happen. Again, Durham, Cochran, and Snow now being taken to the Marion County Jail. They'll be held there until Monday. This trial was supposed to last 15 days was cut short on Monday when the federal prosecutors rested their case. As far as the defense, they only put on one witness, and he was on the stand for a couple of hours. Durham, Cochran, and Snow never took the stand. As far as their attorneys tell me, they thought that the government had not proved its case. I've already spoke to one of the attorneys, Jeff Baldwin, who represents Rick Snow, the former chief financial officer. He says that once they get through the detention hearing on Monday, they'll start talking about an appeal. And so we'll begin to seeing a lot of paperwork being filed here at the federal courthouse in a matter of days as we try to figure out exactly what happens. So the three men now found guilty on a massive financial scheme. And I also have to tell you that I've been talking to a lot of the families in Northeast Ohio who put in all their money honestly into this company, which is now bankrupt Fair Finance, believing that every day that they were putting in their money for their investments into their 401ks and all those good things. They thought their money was safe. They had no idea until the FBI raided Durham's offices in November of 2009 what was going on. And right now, of course, some relief from Northeast Ohio as, in their mind, justice has prevailed.
Raphael, I'm curious, what then was the reaction in the courtroom when those verdicts were read today?
Well, every day, Tim Durham's son, Tim Jr., has been in the courtroom, as well as his mom, Mitza, and some of the sisters. A lot of them are wearing sunglasses. I would imagine there were tears behind those sunglasses. The other defendants had, of course, family members inside. They have not made it out of the courtroom just yet, I would imagine, to avoid media attention. We are expecting to hear from Timothy Durham's attorney, John Tompkins, later this evening at his law firm just down the street. But, of course, right now everyone is just trying to figure out what's going on. No one expected, Jenna and Erica, that these men would actually be hauled off to the jail today. Again, they thought they were going to walk out of this building and then come back to be sentenced.
That definitely did not happen. Rafael Sanchez, live downtown. You've been covering the trial since the beginning. Thank you very much.
We want to give you a timeline now. Issues surrounding Durham and his business partners became public in November 2009 when the FBI raided Fair Finance in Durham's Indianapolis offices. Just a few months later, Fair's investors forced the company into bankruptcy, trying to recover some of the money. In October and February of 2010, Durham sold his art and car collections, bringing in about $1.3 million to help pay the debts. In February 2011, the bankruptcy trustee filed suit against more Durham businesses, claiming he looted every last penny from Fair Finance investors. A few days later, Durham and his two business partners were arrested. We'll stay with the story and we will bring you the latest as it develops.